Welcome to episode 10 of the Route 281 podcast. In today's episode, I talk with Regina Coughenour, who is the executive director for Somerset Inc., which is a nonprofit organization that focuses on the revitalization of the town of Somerset. She is passionate about community and people, and it's evident that she really loves what she does. And we are thankful to spend time with her today and get to know more about her and what her organization does. So we hope you enjoy this episode, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay. Now we're rolling. Yes, Hannah is... Get your mic up. Thank you. Yeah.
All right.
Hannah is playing soccer for the first time, and she loves it.
And Hannah's your middle daughter?
Youngest.
Yeah.
Oh. So she's kind of like, she did gymnastics for a little while, and two of them did, and they like that. Then eventually they're just like, I don't know, they got to the point where they had to they got as far as they could go and stay there. The next step was competition, which was a lot of traveling.
It's a totally different
And it was
thing.
fun for them, and then they're just like, I just don't know if I want to do the competition, because it requires a lot of time. Like, it becomes very intense, and you're there a lot. And for young kids, there's they were content. They didn't want to be so involved when now we're going 4 hours and staying over in a hotel and doing competition.
Yeah.
And there's kids that are way into it, and I think there's opportunity for them to do college and stuff like that, get scholarships. And they were telling us that the gymnastics kids even do rowing and diving and stuff like that. They get into because they're trained to do that type of stuff. One of my cousins
dove. She was at Anna Sanner. She was she was a gymnast in Somerset, and then she started diving. She just walked onto a diving team. I think she dived. She was a diver at it's in New York. It starts with it's a college.
Yeah.
It starts with an M.
Yeah. In New York.
Marist.
Oh, okay.
Marist. Yeah.
Yeah, I maybe get onto the belly flop team if
It's not for me.
Yeah.
I think my oldest, he wants to play, but he also really wants to just be with his friends, play outside. Yeah, and I don't want to take that from him. That's
right. I get torn on the school sports. It's fun, and kids should do it to have fun and make friends and learn to be a part of a team and work together. I think there's so many good things that come from it. But at the same time, there's so much time commitment. It's make sure you're having family time.
Yeah.
And then, if you can get it all in, that's fine. But, if you're giving up time with family, then what are you gaining? At the end of the day, and I get it. Those kids become their family and stuff like that, too. But, I just believe in a strong family structure to where you do spend a lot of time together, and things can quickly rob you of that. That's kind of one of the things about COVID that ended up a blessing in disguise. Was we just kind of did, we were all together.
It's kind of like a hone-in.
Yeah, I was I'm going to do this every year, minus the mask thing. But we just kind of, took the time and spent a lot of time together. So.
Yeah, I love that too. And that is literally part of the thing. Part of the point of being here in Somerset, I think. I feel when I talk to my siblings who live in different places in different cities, the fast pace and the expectations of sports, it's even greater. So I think it's a lot here and in general, but I'm talking to one of my sister-in-laws, and they put you on a track in one sport in third grade, and you can't play anything else. You got to play year round if you want to be good. And I'm
yes, it's become year round.
That's not what it's about, and it doesn't develop other skills, so you don't have any differentiators. I know there are some kids that that is all they want to do.
And if they're enjoying it and they love it, then God bless them, But it's the kids that get forced into it, or and then they don't really know. I guess this is what I'm supposed to be doing because everybody's doing it, or my parents are really pushing me to do it, and then they can't really say, I don't want to do it, but try lots of stuff.
Yeah, I want them to do anything that they want, and then just maybe not all at the same time. but a lot of things.
Yeah.
And then find what makes them, like, lights a fire in them, but also not, I don't want them to think that that is their value. Like, their value is not that they're a good hitter.
Right.
Or it's like that they are them.
Yes.
It's who they are. Because I think that some of these kids, they put all of their heart and their soul into, like, one thing, and like a sport or whatever, an activity of any sort. And then if something doesn't happen, like, I don't know, you're a piano player, you break your hand, or you're a football player and you break your knee.
Right.
I mean, I think it's so devastating. And then they kind of have this soul searching. They're trying to figure out who they are anyways.
Yeah.
Like, people are complicated. They're supposed to be multifaceted. And that's the hope, right? The dream is that I can help my kids be just however complicated and complex as they want to be.
Right. Hannah had a soccer game the other night, and she had, like, stomach issues. Like, she just didn't feel good, and she had went to the nurse twice at school, and she was fine otherwise. I think it's something that she ate. Like, she's got a sensitive stomach. But so we went to soccer, and she's like, I'm going to give this a go. I'm going to try it. And I said, just let me know. Rub your stomach if you're not feeling like you need to come out. Mm-hmm. And so she went for a while, and then I could tell she was hurting, and we subbed her out. And she's like, I'm going to try it again. She went back in. She's like, I can't. So I was like, it was raining and cold, and I'm her assistant coach, so I'm like, your mom's over there in the car, like, they're watching. You want to go sit in the car and watch? She's, no, at least I can sit here and support my team from here. And I was so proud of her. Like, it's cold and raining, and she's 10 years old, and she's like, no, I'm not going to the car. I'm going to sit here in the rain and at least be here with my team. And I was like, that's so impressive.
That's so impressive. Good job.
I was like, oh, man, I kind of wanted to go to the car.
Good parenting.
Yeah, well.
Good kid. That's awesome.
She is a good kid. But all right, Regina Coughenour, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for
having
me.
We had some audio issues the first time, but we're just, it happens. Like I said, I don't know what the heck I'm doing with this technology, but I'm figuring it out as I go. So, anyone out there can give me some pointers. But, yeah, we got it all squared away, and you're back, and I appreciate that. So, I brought you in to talk about Uptown Somerset Inc., which you're the executive director for. We'll just do a quick introduction for you. You were born here in Somerset County, in Somerset.
In Chickentown.
In Chickentown, yeah.
To be specific.
Right. Which is a...
what is that, a village?
Yeah, right. Yeah, your closest neighbor is down the road, and around the corner. So, a great place to grow up. A lot of room to move and get around, and you just get a good feel for the countryside in Somerset, really. Mm-hmm. But you're not far from town either.
Yeah, it's nice.
When where I grew up in Chickentown, like, you couldn't get a pizza delivered to your house. I've picked up a pizza many times on a four-wheeler.
I love that.
Me and my buddies would we'd pull money together. Like, we knew we needed at least $20, and it was so funny trying to scratch together $20 when you're young to order a pizza from Domino's or somewhere, and they would deliver it to Parker's Cycle up on the corner of Briarwood.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was the closest place that would deliver at that time.
Yeah, I don't think they delivered pizza to my house when I was a kid, even though it's 2 minutes.
Right, because we would bypass your place down Chickentown Road. You had to risk, getting caught by the cops on the main road, but we'd go for it. When you're 13, 14, you want that pizza. The only means to go and get it is via ATV.
Driven.
That's growing up in Chickentown.
Yeah, and and the Chickentown Grove and the Chickentown Gas and Steam.
Yeah,
and
right.
The Chickentown Picnic.
The Chickentown Picnic.
Oh, good things.
Yep. So you, like I said, graduated from Somerset High School, went to Loyola University in Chicago and majored in advertising and marketing. Correct.
Mm-hmm. So I actually graduated. So I went to St. Pete's, then I went to Somerset. And all my older siblings graduated from Somerset. But when I was going through, it was during this 5-year-long strike. Probably missed that.
Oh, okay.
And my parents pulled my sister and I out of Somerset, and we went to Bishop McCourt. So I graduated from Bishop McCourt.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Just hopped around a whole lot as a kid. But it was cool because I had all these friends in all different places. I was in 4-H, had friends from all different schools. St. Pete's has kids that go all different schools, and then Somerset for like the two most awkward years of my life, 7th and 8th grade, like, you know, braces, big backpack, but still got a lot of friends from there.
Right.
But yeah, I hopped around a lot as a result of that strike. There were a lot of teachers that left, and they were frustrated, so we moved, and it was a good education.
Yeah.
McCourt was a really good education, and then I ended up meeting a bunch of people there, so.
Oh, you got friends everywhere.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, yeah.
Did you understand why at that time whenever your parents had to...
No, I mean, the only thing that I could understand was I had Mrs. Bruno at the time as a math teacher, and it was hard. It was like pre-algebra or algebra 1, and about halfway through the year, she and her husband decided to retire because of everything going on. And she was a really hard teacher. Math was not my strong suit. And they couldn't find anybody, and they like pulled a new person to sub, and everybody was like failing in my class. And I think that was kind of, and I was like, well, we were failing math. I came here because you were failing math. Like that was.
We heard you had a good math program over here at Bishop McCourt.
Yeah, my like 8th grade understanding was, well, I wasn't good enough in my algebra class. That
So how did you get there then?
We drove. Yeah. Sometimes there were some other kids that did too. So at the time there were a handful of families that decided the same thing. They just kind of had it with the indecision. And we drove down, carpooled. So it meant, actually, it made me a lot more independent, though, I think, good or bad. Like, if I wanted to do after-school activities, I just had to stay, right? So, like, I'd have an hour to kill before tennis practice. So I'd do my homework in the cafeteria and then catch a ride to tennis.
Yeah.
And then, somebody would pick me up.
Yeah.
And then, once I could drive... we had really great CD playlists going on.
Yeah.
Killers and and we did the musical, so sometimes I'd be there super late. Got really comfortable in 219.
That takes a lot of time, the musical. I know my daughter's was in the past 2 or 3, and then my middle just got involved, so they practice hard for that.
Yes, I honestly loved that.
Yeah.
It was a lot of time. I remember I did one at Somerset in 8th grade, I think, with Betty Lou.
Yeah.
And, but I was just like, I was an 8th grader, so I was like some sort of extra in the back. And then over at McCourt, I did all 4 years, and I really, really liked the musicals and the drama program, and it's just a fun thing.
Yeah, it is fun. I did 3 at Rockwood.
Did you?
Yeah. I enjoyed it. A little bit of acting. I was into the singing, but the acting part I loved.
Oh my gosh.
Just being silly and funny and having fun with our friends, and
it's just a good time.
Yeah.
You had an excuse to hang out with your friends till like 11 o'clock practices.
Yeah.
They had pizza a lot behind stage.
Yeah, that's just another one of those things that takes a lot of time, but these kids seem to really are so proud whenever you go and see it, and they put on that production. They're very proud of it.
I think it builds confidence. Like it makes you able to make a mistake and able to recover from that. Able to speak in public. Like I think about that stuff a lot now, like all the things that my parents actually just kind of made me do. Like we were required to do the public speaking contest in 4-H or the demonstration contest, and I always chose demonstration because I didn't want to do
public speaking.
The public speaking, like the straight public speaking, and but it was just a requirement. My parents were like, "This is good for you, so you will do it."
Yeah.
And I mean, I remember griping, "I don't want to do that one. I like square dancing. I want to do this, that, whatever." But I didn't want to do this, and it's probably the skill I use most often now in my life. Just being comfortable speaking, messing up and recovering,
You're essentially the face of an organization, correct?
Kind of,
Yeah, you are. You do a good job at it.
Well, thanks.
Yeah. It's funny how our parents kind of know what's best for us sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And I always empathize with my kids. I'm like, they think I'm crazy when I say stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, one day you'll understand, but it's hard as a parent watching them like, I want you to get it right now and get it right away.
Yeah.
But it's like, they probably won't. But there'll be a day when they're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm really glad I did public speaking. Like, I am. I can't believe it. I'm glad I did those demonstration contests and all of all of those, I don't know, kind of leadership things that I was pushed to do because I mean, honestly, I'm a talker anyway, so it was a good skill for me to have. Maybe they saw that. They were like, well, this is going to be good for you.
They knew it.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Parents can see things in us. And I see that with my own kids. Like, I could see you, doing this, and I think it's a job of a parent to encourage a child in the things that they're good at.
Oh yeah.
Like, ooh,
see that potential.
Right. Maybe that's not your thing,
it.
but you seem to really enjoy this and thrive in this area. Like,
oh yeah.
Go for that, or encourage that, or talk to them about what career opportunities are in those types of things that they're interested in, and how their character tends to navigate to whatever, being social or whatever it is. But there's so many options for kids out there right now, and the thing is, like what do you tell them to be interested in? But that, I do feel like there's a ton of opportunity for kids to get into the world and be successful at something. If they're willing to learn something and work hard at it, I mean, there's a ton of potential. If you're dependable and on time and work hard and teach those things and learn them early as a waitress, or learn them early at a farm, do something where you can help and work and pick up good work ethic, that's necessary no matter what job you do.
Oh yeah, I think that's something Somerset County does really well. In fact, all of my siblings, including myself, we've all heard that from like bosses that we've had. Like we work hard, and my parents had a rule. They were like, as soon as you're able to get a job, you will get a job,
right?
And it will be a minimum wage job, and it will be. And I'm number 5, so I kind of got off easy. But my older, I did. I think they were tired.
Which
so I worked at like the Shake Shack in Jennerstown.
Okay.
One of the first years they were open. I was a regular babysitter. I had jobs like that. But my sister worked at Sheetz. My brothers worked in coal yards, like cleaning up. They worked on the line, I think at North American Hogganis for a while, one summer. Just all kind of, I worked at Seven Springs. I worked at the Sheltered Workshop in Somerset, which is now a different name. It's like a place where adults with, differing abilities, disabilities, can go and learn skills that could help them be a part of the workforce.
Oh, nice.
And they actually will drive you to their like outside jobs. That's what all the folks at the workshop, they would call it, like their outside jobs. And it was like if they worked at the grocery store or Burger King. It was so fun. Like I loved working with them, and it was a great experience. I worked there one summer. But we always had a job, and I think that in Somerset, that's just like a value of our culture here. Like we're proud of working hard, and we value that, and that is like the measure of a person. Is like how much did you put into that? How much did you care? And that's something I really love about living here. Right.
Well, we come from a largely agricultural economy here, and industry, along with a lot of other things, and like restaurants and stuff like that. But you have to, at least you had to. There was a time whenever, you were competing for a job somewhere, and you had to be good. You had to work harder. You had to be there first, leave last.
Shortcuts.
Now it's like, the trend is, we can't find anybody to work. We can't find anybody to do this or that.
I can't get over that. It is so different. And like when I was coming up, my grandparents, on one side, my Nono was an immigrant, and my mom's parents were immigrants too. And they had like all of these stories, like just of how they grew up. And, my pop, he would work at my Nono's cobbler shop every single day. He wasn't allowed to play sports. He went to work after school from the time he was 10, 9, 8. And my grandma told these stories about, honestly, they ate ketchup on bread. She was so strict. Like, you did not waste any food at all. That was big trouble if you were with Grandma Barbera. And then my other side, my grandfather was a butcher, and he he was less of a talker, but he would tell some stories like when he was in Hungary growing up as a kid, his family didn't have food, so he'd like climb a cliff and he'd like get birds' eggs, and then that's like they would eat that like at age 8.
Yeah. Wow.
Crazy stories, right? And then I mean, you grow up with those, and then, you know, I mean, my parents tried to really instill on us, like, you're not special. Like, you work hard. That's what makes you special.
Right.
Like, if you work hard, you treat people well, you know, and like, you know, that is what makes you
right. That's what made them successful.
Person, yeah, that deserves that success.
Right.
And you find a way to contribute to this world, and people can contribute in all different ways.
Right.
Like, they instilled a lot of, like, respect for farming.
Right.
That's, I mean, we did 4-H, and I have so many friends who are farmers still, and I mean, I respect them so much.
Yeah, we just define success a little bit differently today than they did, but they did what it took to be successful, and what it took was hard work and sacrifice, and you know, we know that now, but it seems like, yes, and integrity and so many of those things. It just seems to be our measure of success as a culture has changed a little bit. Like, I don't even know how you would define it today.
Yeah.
You know, but to me, I
think it's a lot more superficial.
Yes, correct. Like, for me, it's have a good family, be independent, be self-sustaining, you know, and all those things. And outside of that, you know, it is superficial. But, you know,
take care of your people.
Yes.
Like, do you show up?
Right.
Do you care?
Yeah.
Are you a good neighbor?
Yeah.
Are you a good parent? That is everything.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope we get back to that as a culture. But we're doing it here in Somerset County anyway.
Oh, so, yeah, we are. Yeah, we are.
So tell me a little bit about, like, what kids could learn from a degree in marketing, advertising, and PR. What kind of job could they get if somebody was interested in going to college for something like that?
You can do so many things with that type of a degree. But so for me, as a kid, I wanted to go to a city. That was in my brain. I was like, I'm going to a city. And my mom was terrified. She was like, you're going to get hit by a car. I don't think you have dealt with traffic. That was like one of her top concerns.
Not a lot of traffic in Chickentown.
She was like, do you know how to cross streets? Like, so I applied only to cities, and I applied on a whim kind of to Loyola University of Chicago because my mom was on me to, like, be applying, and they had kind of an easy application. Don't tell them. And so I applied one day to get her off my back, and they gave me a good scholarship. So I was like, so my parents took me out to Chicago. My mom was, like, terrified. She was hoping I would hate it. I remember we walked over by the lake, and she was like, you like it, don't you? I was like, yeah, I love it, Mom. And she was so sad. But happy for me. And so I went, and I was thinking marketing business. I mean, I was like, I'm going to live in Europe. And then on the other side, I was like, I'm going to go to Africa and be a missionary. Like, I was 18.
Yeah, right.
And I didn't know. So I started on this track, and at the end of the day, like, I've always valued communication. I value people. I love people. I think people are fascinating. So I started on this actually, like, market research track, like, which is, like, creepy and fascinating to, like, know so much about people. There are programs out there that can be like, this person, because they went to a McDonald's on a Tuesday and they have red shoes, you know that they like Baby Bell cheese. It's like crazy stuff. I mean, and it's getting more and more creepy and more accurate. Yeah. But I loved reading that stuff. Like, why? Yeah. Why does
like behavioral patterns?
Yeah.
And
like,
stuff
why
like
do
that.
Asian American women that are 27 like filtered water? Yeah. Like, and what is the history of that? I just think that's so interesting.
Yeah.
And so I started to kind of lean towards that marketing piece, and like I said, there's so many things you can do with it. So, graduated with that, and throughout college, was a nanny, worked several different odd jobs. I was a telephone caller for a fraternity up at Northwestern. They paid $10 an hour. They gave free pizza. But I had to, like, call them and be like, Phi Alpha, sir. And they'd be like, are you a girl? I'd be like, yeah. They're like, do you want to give money to your fraternity?
Yeah, well, who else do they get to represent them?
All sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
I got
they got girls on the phone. Yeah, of course I want to be a Phi Alpha.
Yeah, but it was also a good experience because they'd also be like, he died, and I'd be like, I'm sorry. Do you want to give to your husband?
Yeah, right. That's cool.
But it was, telemarketing, rough job.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do it.
Yeah, and then I did, like the nanny job was also a good insight for me. Like the family was amazing. I babysat a bunch, but this one family I stuck with, and they were lovely people, and their kids loved nature, and it made me so highly aware of how much like nature is not in Chicago, and not even accessible. Like there's nothing that is like what we have here there. I would go home and I would find a newt in like 4 seconds under a rock, and then I would send them a picture, and the kids would be like, "Whoa,
what is that?"
And I realized they would have to go to a museum to see that. Anyways, little squirrel moment, but so as I was going through, I took an internship with, I think it was called, Greater Than. It was a coconut water brand. Mm-hmm. I got an internship while I did another internship for a diaper bank. That was kind of
a diaper bank.
A diaper bank. So diapers are not they're not supplied by WIC, and like if you're a single parent and you're trying to get by and you're not really making it, you have to have a job. And so you probably have to send your kid to a daycare. And in order to send your kid to a daycare, they need to have diapers. So there's just like all of these really difficult things, and like this can be this barrier for people, like not having diapers. So
that's a problem.
Anyways, there was this diaper bank that was getting started, so I started doing their marketing and working with them as like an internship thing. I think that was through a class. And then I just tried to do as much as I could, really.
Yeah, it sounds like it, because you may be the only person I've ever met that's done more jobs than I have.
Just a lot of things.
Yeah, but that makes you diverse.
Yeah,
you learn a lot.
I wanted to do, I didn't know really what I wanted, so and
you try.
I needed to make money. So I just kept doing it. And then I fell into, I got an internship at Y&R Midwest, which is an ad agency, and I fell into some really cool opportunities there because it was like actually out of hardship. But on my first day as an intern, I was going to be the social media intern. I had like a desk in the hallway. I walked into my boss's office, and he was like putting books in a box, and I was like, "Are you spring cleaning?" And he was like, "No, we lost a big client." And half the agency was laid off on my first day on the job.
That's a great job, but
and it was an unpaid internship, so they held on to me.
Oh.
But it was honestly, it was like a break in my career because I was able to do things I would have never, as an intern, been able to even try. So I was able to write ads for famous footwear, and I was able to do online ads for Kenmore, like big name brands, and it prepared me in a way for life that, one, I figured out I don't actually like social media, but I do love writing. So I traded, which again wouldn't have happened had we not had a boss, but we didn't have a boss anymore. So the kid who was sitting next to me was also unpaid. He was a copywriting intern. He hated it. I didn't like social media, so we just switched. Mm-hmm. We just switched jobs, switched desks. Nobody cared.
Nice. You try this for a while. Try that.
Yeah, and it was great. And then I worked there for a while. I moved around the agency because they were so short-staffed. I was able to work in the strategy department, and that was that same piece. Like, why do people buy what they buy? Like, who's shopping at Famous Footwear, and what's attractive to them? So it always came back to like people and learning about people. We got to do some work for Dave & Buster's. Giant Eagle, of all, like in Chicago, Giant Eagle, they didn't have... It was so funny because they were like doing market research on Giant Eagle, and I'm like...
Well, let me tell you about Giant Eagle. I know
Giant Eagle is my home grocery store.
There's two of them in Somerset, I can tell you that. Or there used to be.
And I mean, and it was just funny because they're like talking about, apparently people really love this place. Like this is... And I was like, well, I grew up with it. And then I became this like kind of important person because I had a Giant Eagle and I knew all about it.
Well, ask Regina.
Yeah.
Huh, cool.
And just like by happenstance, I was in a cafe and I was working on a presentation with my group in my senior year of college. And a guy approached me afterwards because probably because of my public speaking experience. Anyways, I was like in charge of I was not intentionally, but just like, I was like, all right, now you present, just, it was just funny because I'm like number 5. So I'm like, in my family, I'm like the one that follows.
Yeah.
Like they tell me where I'm going on vacation. I'm like, all right, I will be there.
Yeah.
And they're like, can you bring rolls? And I'm like, maybe.
Yeah.
And then in my career, I was like, all right, you business.
Yeah, right.
And so I was presenting, and this guy comes up to me and he's like, hey, I'm starting an agency and I've got this resume. Are you interested? And my parents were like, I don't know, Regina, like it's too weird. Like, what if it's not real? It's just in a coffee shop. It turned out to be completely legitimate. It was a company called Social Deviant. On my first day, we like built picnic tables in this cool loft in the South Loop of Chicago, or no, the West Loop of Chicago. And then on my second day, the guy who started it, his name was Mark Landsberg, and he was like really high up in Leo Burnett and McCann World Group and these huge agencies that are like internationally known. He was C-suite, and he just wanted to start his own thing. And his motto was he wanted to create the world's kindest company. And it still is that. Like, they do a random acts of kindness day. And I feel like it was not random. I feel like it was a God thing that we came together, because I'm scrappy Somerset County, so that fits. Like, I'm okay with building the picnic tables. I'm not gonna, right. And I was really eager to have opportunities, and chase dreams, and I'm a hard worker.
Right.
So he saw that, and somehow my parents were like, all right, take the job. And I started working there, and it was around that time that I met my husband in Somerset, which just, diverted the path of my life, but in a great way. Yeah. But at that job, I was able to do market research. I had fully leaned into strategy, and I pitched Crocs China. I did a ton of research about why people wear Crocs in China, and TE connectivity, which I think is in PA, and Kellogg, Northwestern Business School, and Keystone Resort in Vail, Colorado, and all of these different really cool clients. So I don't want to say I was in the right place at the right time, but kind of. I had these opportunities. But with marketing, you can really do so much, because at the end of the day, it's not just about making things pretty. That's a superficial way to look at it, right. But it's really about connecting people and products, or people and businesses, or people and services. And if you look at it that way, it's really about people, and how you serve them. I think if you do it right, and those are the ones that work. The most powerful brands, like Red Wing Shoes is one that they represent now, and they have some really cool projects with them, and I've watched them continue to grow as an agency, and I still keep in touch with the CEO. And I think for them, there's this deeper purpose, right? There are people that like Red Wing Shoes, and we highlight those people, and then they find their people. Yeah. And then their brand as well.
They're not just trying to
sell.
Exploit somebody for...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is kind of the American way. It's not just supposed to be, and not to knock on China, but, well, you know what I mean? We're not just trying to get as many crap products sold as possible. I think when you focus on who needs this, then you have value.
Right.
And that's really what economics and the entire capitalist society is really supposed to be about. So
a company would hire the agency to promote the product, promote the business, whatever it may be. You find me the right people that are interested in what we have. And cool.
Yeah, and my job in that, my role was to, one of the companies we represented one time was Baby Bell Cheese, who I brought up earlier, and my boss at the time, this was
some in my fridge right now.
Yeah, so good. At Y&R Midwest, she was she told me, she was go stand in the grocery aisle, go to a fancy store, go to a regular store, go to go to a Target, go to several different types of grocery stores, and just sit there in the cheese aisle a little while, see who shops, see what they look at, see how much time do they spend there, who spends more time.
Like, who's this lady watching me buy cheese?
Yeah, it's weird. It's super weird, but that was like a thing that we did to like try to identify a target. Then we did a focus group and we like asked people questions of like the people that we thought were the target. And then
now you just got to go to social media. Yeah. People will post themselves buying cheese.
Well, yeah.
Bought some cheese today.
But then you're like, well, why? Like, what is it that you enjoy about this cheese? Who are you? And so it then just becomes like matchmaking. So the strategy is like, how do you, okay, so if the audience is 50 plus, how do you reach this audience? And then you come up with this strategic connection. Like, well, this audience does this, this, and this. So you want to introduce your product here, here, and here.
Right.
And to me, that's really fun. Some people like the creative more. Some people like, and there's all these different components of marketing. So, you just, like I kind of picked a track. But, I mean, now in my job, this is like, I would have never, I mean, I was working for a filtered water bottle company, and I was working out of the coffee shops, and I got to know the owners of the businesses. I was helping them with like Facebook. Yeah. Just like simple stuff that I knew because of my age, honestly.
Right.
And they were like, you should look at this Main Street program. And I was like, oh, cool, I'll organize events. Like, that'll be cool. I've got tiny babies.
Yeah.
And it's part-time. So I took it, or I applied for the job, and then I got it. And as I learned about it, I mean, in some ways, I feel that way. In one component at Somerset Inc., it's matchmaking. Like, it's who belongs here. Like, who will love this? Who fits our culture? Like, what is our culture, first of all, at Somerset, in Somerset County? And, like, who are we? And how do we highlight our best selves and, like, reach our highest potential? And how do we find our people? Because when we talk about recruiting population and retaining population, I think that's the most honest way to do it. It's not, we're not trying to trap, like, I don't like that at all. Like,
you'll come here and you'll like it.
Or like, honestly, had my parents not been like, yep, go to Chicago, I don't know that I would have the love that I do, because that was where my heart was. I was like, I'm going to have an adventure.
Yes.
And, I was Anne of Green Gables on a kindred soul journey.
Yeah.
And now, because of that, I am in love with Somerset County. Like, I'm so happy to be here.
Along with so many people that have done that, and been away. Like, oh, now here's where I want to come back and raise my family, because I appreciate the things about it that these other places may not have.
Right. So when I talk about marketing Somerset, really, I'm just trying to be honest.
Right.
This is who we are. This is what we value.
Yeah. It
does
almost
it sound
does
good
the
to
work for you.
Right?
Yeah.
And if it works for you, great. And if you're a kid and you're trying to figure out who you are and you love it here, I love that.
Yeah.
And if you're a kid or an adult and you're like, this isn't suiting me, like, go find what does. I believe in that. And I believe in when we kind of we build our culture to around like our best and highest potential.
Yeah. It's funny because I just recently interviewed a lady, and she was telling me that somebody she went to high school with was like, they don't live here anymore, but they're like, I saw this Somerset County podcast. It's called the Route 281 podcast, and they were so excited to tell her that, and she's like, oh, I'm going on the podcast. They had saw somebody else. They had saw Sam Romsberg's episode, and I think people just, even if they are away, and it's probably the same for anybody who moves away from their hometown, if there's a way that they can connect somehow or kind of keep up with, it's not that we're news here or anything.
We've got this really great Somerset County alumni group, and I feel like people do love to know. They like to, maybe it's nosy, or maybe it's just that I think the people that leave, even if they've decided it's not for them, although I find that a lot of people who have left, they like actually still want to be here, or at least they speak that way. And maybe it's a job, or maybe it's a spouse, whatever.
Or the winter.
Yeah, or the winter.
No, but we got a lot to do in the winter too. But
but people, some people it's not for them, and that's okay.
Well, Sam told me that they have a place in Florida, and he's recently retired high school superintendent.
Yeah, I
and
know
they were
him.
down there, and there's a whole community of like Somerset County people in the area that he lives in, and they have a
'Cause of
Somerset
course there
County
is.
picnic in Florida. So
It's really cute.
yeah, so
I love that. Somerset people do. I feel like it's kind of like how there's a Steelers bar all
Yeah.
over the world. Like
Yeah.
there's Steelers bars everywhere.
Yeah.
I think that like we like have that kind of a personality. Like,
Yeah.
like people are really proud.
Well,
like
they
if they
take
leave and
their
they're
work
like, I'm
ethic.
from Somerset.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. But so how does what you kind of explained, but how your degree in marketing and reaching people now for Somerset Inc. For those folks who don't know, what is Somerset Inc. and what are your goals there, and what is your position, and how do you operate day to day?
Okay. All right. So Somerset Inc. is a community revitalization program. Started as a Main Street program in the 80s. It started in the 90s. Main Street program started in the 80s. Main Street programs exist all over the country. There are thousands of programs. Many people don't know about, but downtown Bedford is a Main Street program, right? There are just tons and tons of people, like maybe they know, but they don't know we're the same type of program. They were started by the federal government because they did studies that showed, kind of in like the height of mall culture, that small town centers were actually like the most effective driver of economic success in a small community, right? So like if that little town center thrives, then the success of that town center ripples outward. That means you have a better workforce. That means you have a better quality of life. That means you have better retention, better recruitment.
Yeah.
And just overall that you see the success ripple outward. People want to be in that place. And what they were seeing as mall culture was like developing is that same effect did not happen with malls. And that makes sense because malls, because of their like corporate nature, were designed to like their funds flow upward, where like small businesses, 60, 70, 80% or 80% of their income goes back into the community via soccer sponsorships or their employees spending just, they're pouring out,
Yes,
not
correct.
up.
I would agree with that.
And that is the difference. And then when you have a concentration of businesses that are all relying on each other, it becomes like a mall that flows out. And it's a powerhouse center of economic success. And I think sometimes we look at economics like we just need this one giant business and everything will be great. But that's not really how it is, because people, especially now, can live anywhere and do anything anywhere. So they have to want to be in our community. And I love Somerset because I want to walk in streams barefoot and I want to catch crayfish and salamanders. And now I love Somerset because I know the personality of every uptown merchant and all of the character. And I love, I love that we have maple, and I love the farmers, and I love everything about that culture. But
you know who your neighbors are.
Yeah.
And like you said, if you go to that small town and you go to the local school and you sit down or you drive by the baseball field or the soccer field and you see the fences on the fence, all the people who sponsored that sport, there's no Walmart sign, there's no Kohl's sign.
It's
those are local businesses giving back to the kids and
because their hearts are here.
Yes.
Because their hearts are here and their dollars are here too then. And so that's why, that's like the explanation that was given when they did those studies, and then those studies started these Main Street programs. So for the first 3 years of Main Street, they were sponsored by like their state. So if you wanted to start a Main Street program, you got a group together, you created bylaws, all of this. It's a nonprofit. You have a board. And so in 1994, we were incorporated as a Main Street program. And our first director was Terry Netchai. And they did things like they took siding off of the Glades Court building, which is right on our diamond. There was like white siding on it, apparently.
So they brick and
they sat up on scaffolding and took that down. He actually created a market inside that building of just like small town vendors, and then that incentivized Barbara Vanyo to come and buy that building and renovate it and invest in our community. But we had already kind of been struggling because like malls were at their peak. And so a lot of small businesses were going out, and just and that it was like this attempt to save the downtowns, and that effort has continued because it was a struggle for a really long time. Now I think we're seeing things kind of turn back.
Oh, yeah. You go into a mall, it's a ghost town. I mean, there's a few people, but it's not like it used to be.
I think the internet has made that change,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
You can go online and you can get anything. And so if you're looking for an experience, you're definitely not going to go to the big chain store.
Right.
You're going to go to a small town place if you have one.
Yes.
So that's kind of the caveat, if you have one.
Right.
And then, so Main Street programs are designed to focus on a small central business district for that purpose, because the impact ripples outward, because we want to make our community greater as a whole. And so we have 4 focus areas. All Main Street programs do. We have economic development, and that is brick and mortar projects, facade grants, which is like the exterior of buildings, signs, rent subsidy grants we do. We like if a new business is coming in and they're a Main Street type of business, meaning they're going to bring foot traffic, meaning they're providing a value to the community. We have subsidy grants where we'll subsidize their rent for half by half, but for 1 year. And then we have different initiatives like pop-up shops. We brought Dough Girls to town, and we put them in Frank's during Fire and Ice, and now we've had several inquiries about pizza shops in that space, and we're hoping that one of them will kind of come through.
Just come and stay.
Yeah, we hope so, because that was a tragedy losing Frank's. He passed away unexpectedly, and we're excited to kind of hopefully continue that legacy that he left of just this great pizza right there on the diamond. And so we have all of these initiatives focused on growing small business, and I mean, building renovation is not something that was part of my degree,
right,
but it is something that I can understand that they are part of the fabric. Right. Like those buildings are part of the fabric of our community. They are the character. I mean, you mow down every other building and you just have parking lots. What is the
you
point?
have what any other town would have.
Right.
If you didn't hang on to the history of the town, and you lose that, and then you lose that connectivity that's that you're proud of, and you go through a town like Somerset or any other of these small towns, and it is so nice to see these little shops where you can stop and you get your vitamins from this guy. I mean, my wife talks to the guy in the vitamin store, and you know him.
And he's great. He's a nutritionist, and he like genuinely cares. He's always yelling at me for having too much coffee. Yeah. He's like, "How many? Is that your third cup today?"
How many coffees have you had today, Regina?
Like, I'm sorry, Craig.
How can you tell?
I'm like jittery. And he's great, and because he's here, and he cares.
Right. Yep. You know your customers, and
everything.
It is neat. Yeah.
I mean, my husband's a small business owner, and he cares. I feel like he knows everything.
Yeah.
When I saw a calf on our road, who did I call? I called my husband. He gave me the farmer's phone number. I called the farmer. I said, "Hey, you got a calf?"
He comes in here and gets his chainsaw. I know who it is. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's perfect, and that is all the small town charm.
Yeah.
So we have economic development. We have design, which is not just, it is Christmas decorations. It is like the extra magic, working with the garden club. And I mean, they do like the flowers uptown, and but it's also like the streetscape planning, working with the borough. They just redid the sidewalks. We've got some things there going on. They redid the lamp posts. That's part of the magic and charm of a community. And that is part of what makes us attractive. So having benches, having a place for people, having trash cans, simple things. The birdhouse, which was like a social media topic recently, and we care about that birdhouse. It's cool.
Right.
And so design is this component that we focus on. Last year we did a mural, and it was like supposed to be a peek in the past to the old Newberry building, which I don't remember at all.
Yeah.
And everybody talks about. And so we found this artist. He did 3D art. So we were like, could you make us a Newberry mural?
How did you find him? Because it is awesome. The mural, if you haven't seen it, it's on the side of the old Newberry building, which is what Glades Court, right?
Glades Court, Newberry. Yeah, they're like connected.
But you can't miss it driving through. And when you told me before, I'm like, where is it? But it's awesome. Yeah, and he did such an amazing job. So explain how that came about.
Well, so when I first started, I was like, we don't have a summer festival. We don't do anything in the summer. Summer is so beautiful in Somerset. So I was like, well, we could do art. And I was like, but what could we do? Like, just kind of brainstorming. Because it's town. It's not like, it's town. So what fits there? And I honestly, my kids were drawing sidewalk chalk outside, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I remember that I had seen sidewalk murals before. And I was like, what if we did a street painting chalk festival? And originally I imagined it where every nonprofit in Somerset would come, and I don't know, Children's Aid Home would have lemonade, and Boy Scouts would have chicken, and then we have people drawing on the sidewalk.
Yeah,
just be this kind of hometown thing. But it's evolved into this event where we have 30, 40 professional artists from all over the country and outside the country applying to come to Somerset to put a mural on our pavement for the weekend. So this Uptown Chalk the Block Festival, it's 8 years old, so it's still young, still has room to grow. And definitely I want more and more people to see it and know how cool it is, because it's not just for little kids or family, it's for anyone. It is, these people are incredible. So Alex, the artist, he reached out to us. He wanted to be a chalk artist, but we honestly didn't have any more sponsorship. We already had enough artists. It's just what we can cover, because there's a cost to bringing them in. And we looked at his portfolio, and he had done actual murals all over the world. I'm talking Ukraine, Germany, Italy, just Spain, all
That's
over.
Incredible.
And
he wanted to come
and
here.
he was in Texas. He's in Texas. Yeah, he wanted to come to Somerset. So we were like, well, so I got with Jackie McCusker, who's the executive director over at Laurel Arts. We were like, what can we do? How can we do something? And we just, there was a cost. We split it. We worked with the building owner, and we were like, where would a 3D mural look good? Because that's what he specialized in. So you should look up Maxiov.com, I think, and you can see his 3D murals. I mean, they are insane. Yeah. And he was so low key. I mean, we didn't have a car for him, so he had to walk everywhere. Yeah. We got him an Airbnb in town, and he stopped at Cassio's and walked up the street and did his job. And John Morocco donated the lift for him to use, which was really kind.
That's awesome.
And just, we pulled together as we do in Somerset, made it happen. And
cool. He nailed it,
Yeah.
He got the escalator from Newberry's.
Yeah, the peanuts.
Yeah, it was very cool. It definitely gives off a small town vibe.
So that's our design component. So we have economic development, design, which is, let's make it feel like us, right? Let's add all that little extra stuff that makes it feel like home. Then we have promotion, which is our events, and the events are they're fundraisers for us, but not huge. But they're really, in my opinion, they're a way for our community to make memories together.
Do you still do the gala in the courthouse?
We only did that once.
Because I saw that video.
I don't know if you're going to interview any commissioners, but we would love to do it again. We just have to have permission, and they have to work with us to do it, because there's security stuff.
It was so cool. I saw that. I'm like,
it was really cool.
Yeah, it is neat. You put on a tuxedo, piano player, and what a beautiful building. And like you said in the video, there's not a lot of good reasons to go to the courthouse.
Right.
I mean, there are a few, but for the most part, you're like, oh yeah, I go through a metal detector and get in there and go to court or whatever you got to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, what a neat thing.
We needed a fundraiser, and we came up with it. And then, because I had done some research, and apparently courthouses, because people got married there and stuff, I mean, they used to be centers for the community. People regularly gathered at their courthouses historically all across the U.S. And we're just weird now. Now it's ooh,
get your passport.
Yeah.
Go
metal detectors.
Right.
And it's much more serious. And it's not, I mean, it's just the way that life has to be, and that's sad. But it is still our building.
Yes, correct.
That building belongs to this community, and it's stunning. And so, I mean, we'd love to do something in the courthouse again. I just know that it's a lift, security-wise and stuff, to make sure that we're respectful. But last time we had no problems. We did invitations. We had a limit. We invited the bar association, so there was we were kind of told different groups that kind of we should include, and then we also included uptown members and stuff like that. And we had businesses donate hors d'oeuvres, and then they served them. Chuck Wagon donated 2 types of hors d'oeuvres, and it was just people were just walking, just volunteers were just walking around in white shirts and black pants.
Yeah.
I was I don't know, 100 months pregnant.
Yeah.
People were like, don't have the baby now.
Yeah.
But it was great. It was so cool.
The
really good
hospital
memory.
wasn't far away, just in case you did.
Yeah. We would love to do that again. But
yeah, that was cool.
yeah, so Alex came, he did the mural. That's and then promotion is our events. That's Fire Nights, that's Chocolate Block, that's Light Up Somerset, that is Earth Day, that is Cookie Tour, that is any little activity that we do.
You do a farmer's market up there
SoCo
also.
Farmers Market.
Yeah.
We're really excited. That starts June 7th. And then the final piece is organization. And organization can look different for every Main Street program. Sometimes they have memberships. We recently were like, we just don't want to do memberships. We just want anybody to be able to participate. So we take donations because that is what we do not exist without donations. That is how we exist. But beyond donations, like we just want every business to be able to be a partner to us if they're interested. So we do organization for us is like how can we partner and how heavily can we partner. So we partner with the Next Step Center to work on housing initiatives. We partner with Somerset Lake and the county. We paid for all the engineering around the trail.
That's amazing.
We applied for a grant that paid for all the engineering around the trail, did 30 facade grants uptown, demolished that building across from Cassio's and put in the farmer's market. Bought a building for Next Step Center on West Main Street and just gave it to them, and then we gave them money each year to help with that renovation. They were able to get grants for it. That's like 16. It's going to be 20 units when it's done.
Cool.
Trying to think what else. The rent subsidy grants. Just a whole lot of things. I mean, and we have a lot of trackable numbers there, like dozens of jobs, several, like 16 small businesses. We were able to help Mel's with their blight problem that they ran into, which was really cool. I mean, they have more in it than we did, but we were able to help them out. And summer we're going to put some roofs on people's houses. So.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
In town, around town there?
Do you do roofs?
No.
No.
If it involves the project I'm working on, I'm not a roofer, but it takes usually a pretty good crew to get it done quickly. If I'm building a porch or an addition or something, I'll do it. But
we've got a family who really needs a roof.
You just purchased the building too, right? You guys purchased the building.
Oh my gosh.
So
I'm literally going to be there today.
Yeah, you guys done a lot there. If you see the dumpster along the street, that's you guys cleaning that building out. And plans for the building?
So that is the Diamond Row building. It's 102, 104, and 106 West Main Street. So that was a partial donation, partial purchase, and the former owner donated 2 buildings, and then we purchased the last. And prior to that, we had done a pop-up shop in there, trying to get it, just like we did at Wherever Boutique, and trying to get somebody interested in the space. Mm-hmm. And then actually trying to get a buyer because it had been for sale for like 10 years. And then before that owner, it had been sale for another 10 years. So it really had been vacant for so long. And vacancy for a building just isn't good for it. I mean, you end up with wet, dampness problems.
All buildings need maintenance.
Right. So we had tried to do this pop-up shop, and we had so many people interested, but they got into the building and they were like, oh, no, because there was plaster coming off the walls, and there was this one wall in between the last building and Ameriserve on West Main Street that you could actually see through the mortar. So it was like, you're kind of like, don't blow too hard on that wall, because the bricks were just, you could see the light through. And we just
free air conditioning.
Yeah, it kept it nice and chilly. Well, I mean, honestly, the brick is so thick that it was pretty well insulated. Yeah. But basically, we got to a point, my board got to a point where they realized it's just not going to happen. So either the building's going to crumble or somebody's going to acquire it. And at that point, my board, who had a long-standing relationship with that building, actually, way back in the early 90s when I was a toddler, they have a whole study that they did on that building and 2 others because it's an anchor building on our diamond. Mm-hmm. They decided that if they could make a deal, that they would take it on. So that's when the owner said he'd donate 2 of the buildings. We purchased the last, and then we used the neighborhood partnership program tax credit funds to do the architectural work, the asbestos abatement work, and structural engineering evaluations. And then we were able to also do, so far, we're done with all the demo, almost. We probably have like one more dumpster.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, we took 160 buckets out of rock out of that one basement.
I saw your video.
Heavy.
Yeah.
Heavy rock.
Yeah.
But we got to get it flat so we can have a mason come in and pour that concrete, and it's expensive to pay somebody to do that labor.
Oh, yeah.
So we have volunteers come. They're awesome. And Fisher Contracting's in there now. They just rebuilt all the steps in the building to get them to code. Paul Miller Masonry came and rebuilt the one wall where you could see through the mortar, and he actually used lime mortar because you probably know all of this, but I didn't. Like, when you have that soft brick, if you put it against a Portland cement or like a variety of Portland cement, when it expands, which is like designed to do just naturally, the baked bricks, they expand and they contract depending on the weather. They'll hit that.
To move, yeah.
They'll hit that concrete and they'll actually crack. So you have to do the line there. So we were able, because we took that wall down by hand, which was a very dirty job. We were able to stack them up on pallets and put them right back up.
Reusing. Cool.
Which was good.
So, what will be your ideal purpose for that building?
So when it's complete, it'll be 3 commercial spaces on the first floor. So separate commercial spaces. So 102 will have a commercial space, and that has the tin ceiling. And then the basement is a commercial space that's connected to it. It can't stand alone because of ADA rules, or else it could have been 2 separate commercial. But as long as everything that's offered downstairs is also offered upstairs or accessible upstairs, they can have like a commercial space in the basement too. And then the center will have a commercial space with 2 accessible bathrooms in the back that are available to all 3 of the commercial owners.
Okay.
And then the last building is actually a 2-story commercial with the upstairs. So that one is rated a different code rating. So like there's mercantile, the other 2 are mercantile, and that one is rated assembly, which means that it could be like any of them could be a super small restaurant, but this could be like a more like a bar or restaurant or a space that accommodates more people. And then on the upper floors, there's 1 studio apartment, super cool. I'll have to take you through some time. And then a 2-story apartment on the tallest building there. And that top building, I mean, we hope, that should be like a grand apartment.
Yeah.
It really should. It's like the penthouse of the town. It oversees everything.
Yeah.
It has a gorgeous view.
I'm sure you'll have no trouble renting it.
So far. I hope not.
No, I don't think so.
So we just got a grant to help us finish that building. We were awarded a Main Street Matters grant, and I'm really excited. It's different because it requires like a bid process and everything. The tax credit really allowed us to just, to take different quotes and work, but the bid process, I don't know if you're familiar, it's more complicated.
Yes.
So we have to do things that way now, but we're still going to be looking for volunteers. We're still going to make it Somerset County Scrappy because that's just who we are.
Right.
And I can't see spending more money than we need to if we can do it ourselves.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud because every person who's had a hand in that building has helped in some way. I mean, ServPro donated in-kind hours, and they just sent like 6 guys, and they would like drive up a trailer and just park it. Rick Safaro from over there, he'd just be like, you need a little trailer, just stick it on top of our dumpster load that's already half full, and we just dump some crap on, and he'd get out of there, and his guys would help. It was so cool. Columbia Gas came one day and helped, and they were like wizards. They were working in the basement. I mean, they were hauling rock out of the basements, but they were also like taking out some of the old cast iron pipes. I mean, you have to smash them, and you have to get the lead ring out, and then it's like a whole thing.
Yeah.
I have learned so much. And I could go on and on. We've had church groups and Wheeler Brothers or Wheeler Fleet Solutions, and I will
truly a community's come
so
together to preserve that building.
Hundreds of volunteers and thousands of hours.
Very cool. Very cool. So the next event will be Chalk the Block, right? Is that your next? What dates are those? Do you know?
That is July 25th to the 28th. It's a Friday to a Sunday, so
Okay.
it's that weekend.
The end of July.
And this year, we've never picked a theme before, but our artists were sitting at tailgates last year, and they were like, I was asking them about themes, and they were like, themes are okay, but if you get a cool one, then that's cool. And all of these people, or many of them, they're really down to earth, which I guess makes sense, right? You see them, they're on the pavement, they're like filthy dirty, it's like bazillion degrees, right? They're drawing, they're so cool, like just personality wise, these artists are awesome, and I think that's why they fit so well in Somerset.
Yeah.
Like they're like,
I don't even like to drive through there because I don't want to drive over it. You know?
Yeah, you drive right over like this giant 3D Bluey,
Yeah.
Which actually was on the Bluey Disney page.
That's
How cool
awesome.
is that? Somerset County, uptown Somerset, right on the Bluey page.
Yeah.
He's got something hilarious for this year. But so, anyways, they were talking. We started talking about Somerset. Came up with the idea of doing a camping theme. So the theme this year is Camp SoCo.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Camp Somerset County. And we're going to do kind of like a camping, but also like a summer's camp type of thing, activities.
That's so cool. I just interviewed the lady that bought Camp Souls.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, she'll be the episode that comes on right before yours. But
That's so cool. Yeah, well, you have to connect me. We want to have some of the camps up. We have a couple that are already committed to coming. One's going to bring a Gaga pit.
Oh, I will definitely tell her that that's your theme.
I'm excited because this is going to be fun. Eric, the Chalking Dad, he was my first artist. He's from Irwin, and he's been, like, absolutely amazing. He's dad. He's like a dad kind of guy.
Yeah.
And he just knows everybody and so helpful and kind. And
can the kids chalk also?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just not.
Well, so we just have buckets of chalk everywhere. So we just want anybody to, like, just come chalk the town.
But the artists have to kind of apply to come and do the mural. Is that what you're saying?
Well, they come and they apply, and then we look at their art, and we pay them to come in.
Yeah.
And I mean, some of them I don't even know.
Yeah, that's so
just
cool.
because some of them, like Utah, like those are not.
Yeah.
Those are California. We have places all over that they're coming from, and they're just
neat.
lovely people. So we just bring in as many as we can honestly afford to bring.
Yeah.
And that always depends on how many businesses can sponsor.
Yeah.
But then we have a youth competition, and we have an adult competition, and then we have the professional artists. So it's kind of like the whole gamut. We've got 20 bands, I think, or like musicians coming to play, and that's everybody from local kids who are just really talented to local bands and artists, and we just pop them up all over. Like the dream is to have them just like, I saw that guy in the corner. He's got like his whatever.
Together.
Yeah, like that's the. Oh my gosh, I love that.
Cool? Yeah.
And then we've also had like plein air artists show up. You know, plein air is like where they just have a little stand and they're just sitting there and they're just painting a building right there, and they're like $40, like and they just sell it. And that's happened. Like it happened on its own. Those people I wanted them to come.
Yeah.
Because I had heard of that and I was like, that seems so cool. And then 2 years ago, I was just walking by the farmer's market, and there were these two artists just sitting there painting a building. And I was like, how did you learn about this? And one of them's from, like, Boswell, and he was like, we want to come.
That's so cool.
So we have also these other artists just kind of there. It's just, and this year we're going to have a adult beer garden, too, in Trinity Park. We'll have Trailhead Brewing and Vindamatrix Winery. Mm-hmm. The streets are closed, so... It just creates like a lot more safer, family-friendly environment.
What a nice time.
Oh, it's going to be so fun.
Yeah,
I'm
cool.
really excited.
I like the camping theme, too.
So have you seen Christmas Vacation?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'll have to show you what Eric has in mind.
Oh,
but
yeah.
it is Christmas Vacation themed. I know we're going to have like a Bigfoot type of thing, too. And the artists are throwing out their ideas, and like they are not going to disappoint. So
I can't wait. Lastly, for those business spaces that are vacant, we talked about this a little bit before, but what are some businesses that you think would go well in those spaces, and what would you like to see come into Uptown Somerset?
So we want a pizza shop for sure. We'd love for that to go right in Frank's Pizza
So pay
space.
attention, entrepreneurs, if you're listening.
Yeah.
Okay.
We think they will do incredibly well. Everybody wants to know, what happened? Well, Rodney, the former owner of Frank's, he had a heart attack and he passed away, and it was super sad, and it took a long time for like that to be figured out because it was unexpected. And but that business and like that name and that like everybody still talks about Frank's.
Right.
I mean, people love that space and going uptown to get a pizza. So we would love for a pizza shop to come in. We would love for a brewery to come uptown. We would love for a bridal shop to come uptown because we do have all of these incredible wedding venues around, and we do have a bridal and prom shop, but we want something that's more like probably like a more boutique-y, just like just bridal gowns.
Yeah.
I imagine that would do incredibly well. We also have like a whole wellness thing uptown with the salt room and the hair salons and the nail salon, and there's masseuses, and we have a whole lot of kind of like a natural health movement, Great Day Juice and Essentials for Health, and I think
I need to offset that with some beer and pizza.
Yeah, and I want to offset that with some beer and pizza. I think that seems perfect.
Yeah, I do.
I imagine like an Irish pub would do so well.
Yeah,
cool. I feel like that's the kind of place where everybody's just comfortable. Because the thing about Somerset, even though we have all these like health things, and not a one of them, like we don't dress up to go to the health thing. Like this is not. We're casual people, and that's good for us. Yeah.
You said about a men's store, men's shop, which I think is neat. Like combine that with a barber shop, and I don't know why our community does. I mean, I know there are plenty of barber shops around, but like that little place where you can walk in, have a cigar, and and get
stock some Abilene boots in there.
Yeah, right. Just. Like this nostalgic but new, you know what I mean? That type of barbershop.
What else?
Sell some men's products, and then my other recommendation was the butcher shop.
Oh yeah. I love that.
Just walk in and you see the guy with the cleaver and the white apron with blood on him, but. Yeah, I don't know. It's just local products, like some smoked sausages from the farm down the road that you got your animal from, and there you go up and you can buy it. But I think that would be cool.
So Somerset, that would
Very
be perfect.
Nostalgic.
People pull up, they've got their deer in the back of their truck. That just seems right. It seems right, honestly. Very Somerset.
Yeah, we need one of those uptown. I don't know about the deer carcass.
It is what it is.
Right.
It's honest.
There's a lot of potential and opportunity for somebody who's willing to take a risk and start a business, and you guys can help them out a little bit if they're.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So very good. If you're interested in any of that, go up and talk to Regina if you've got a business idea, and look at the buildings and the opportunities. They'll have some apartments for rent soon. So.
Yeah.
Very good. But I think it takes somebody with a lot of vision, and obviously somebody with some compassion and a love for their community, and you seem like the right person for that job. So.
Thank you.
So I don't know if you get a lot of thanks, but thanks for what you're doing up there, because you guys are working hard on that building and doing a lot. But the community appreciates it, and those who really care about Somerset County and care about the town of Somerset, you're doing them a great service. So,
Thanks.
Regina Coughenour, thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh. All right.